body, we need 2 volunteers to check the bills. Imagine nobody volunteered, but afterwards they complained, we cannot do no reports. Point number 1. This happened February 23. Write down the days because it's very important. Then March 10, we had a meeting in which it was said our chapter was in debt for about 4,000 euros to members because our account was frozen, and all members, some members, give money always. I give you an example. Sakiambao came to Belgium. There was an event in a hotel. We had to pay 20,000 francs, which is 500 euro. I paid this because there was no funds. Now, there were troubles in the chapter, and now they claim that we have stolen the money. This is not the truth. We just gave money to the chapter, and in the meeting, the 10th of March, we asked our money back. If you want to have the meeting, the minutes, it's written in there, those people who give money to the chapter will be reimbursed.
50%.
10th of March. Then we had the general election, the 16th of March. We voted, we had a procedure, and there were mistakes. An example, I was asked during that meeting before, Lucien, you should present the rules of the elections, which I got from Manila. I presented the rules, and it was stated every member should vote for 9 persons. Everybody must be in good standing. I refused a Belgian, very important, I refused a Belgian member to enter the room and to vote because he didn't pay his dues. Right? Now, we had our election. Somebody complained within 24 hours. You have 48 hours time to complain. So there was a complaint of somebody. I complained because this was wrong, somebody voted by proxy. It's not allowed to vote by proxy. A lot of people voted only for 5 or 6 persons. So those ballots are not valid. So we had a meeting, the 1st of April. And we decided on the meeting, the council, 7 persons present. And we voted 4 persons, the complaint is valid, new elections. 1 person neutral, 2 persons, yes, valid, but no new election. So resolution taken by the council, new elections. Election not valid. April 1st, this happened. April 4, all of a sudden, regional commander from Belgium sent out a message. I don't give the names, but the regional commander sent a message to another member saying, I am inviting your invitation for an oath taking at the embassy. 1st of April, we decided new elections. The regional commander, area commander for Belgium decides now, no new elections. Taking oath. Phone calls all around. It was said, Mr. Ambassador demanded the oath taking, and it should be in the premises of the embassy. 1 day later, one of our members went to the ambassador to ask him, make an appointment and ask him why he did this. And he said, I didn't demand this. I was asked this morning, but the day before we were already informed. The complaint went to the region in Europe. So the regional Europe got a file with all the points, and we asked for a resolution. One of the area commanders sent us a message and said, this is really unacceptable. There should be new elections, and you cannot have somebody deciding no new elections. So that regional commander decided oath taking, and they had that oath taking. And 90% of the members left the chapter and went to his chapter. Now it starts the money. They left our chapter, they start a new chapter, asking our money back. So we complained to Manila. Then there is a message from the Supreme Commander. Supreme Commander wrote, after telephone calls with the regional commander, with the area commander Belgium, I decide that you may not ask the money, because the money was ours. 14 days later, there's a message from the regional commander, the area commander Belgium, which says, I demand again the money. So how, you see how it happened in Belgium. One person decides everything. Supreme Commander take an action on a meeting, and then the area commander just go the other way around. This is the situation what happened in Belgium. The problem is now, we send a file to the region in Europe, no action. We send a file consisting of 80 pages to Manila, no actions. This is what happened in Belgium. Another thing, when I became chapter commander in El Filibustrismo in Belgium, I went through the papers and I found out that my two predecessors had problems with collecting money from the members. Writing letters, if you don't pay your dues, we will inform Manila that you are not a member anymore. So when I became chapter commander, I did the same, wrote 3 letters, as foreseen, and I told them, if you don't pay, we will send a message to Manila. Now somebody accused me of racism for several reasons. One of the reasons was, when I became chapter commander, I kicked out 8 Filipinos from my chapter. But I kicked out 8. Well, I didn't kick out. I wrote a letter to Manila for those 8 persons. But Dandieu, Kukenheim, Waterschot, are those Filipino names?
Lucien, sorry to interrupt you. This is long and actually very exciting story.
Yes, it is exciting.
And it could also be grotesque. It could be a soap opera if it was not affecting us. I think this is a terrible. This is something very terrible. At the same time, you could write books about it. Yeah? It could really. It's astonishing, and it is a good sample of area and bad management. And I think Sir Romeo is trying to model something out how to interact on these things, and these things will, for the future, will be avoided. And I would urge you, or I would recommend that this case, or these cases, this is not a singular thing, should be revised by this Committee on Ethics, maybe not as fact-finding, but to explain what is wrong, what should have been done instead, on how do we have to interact for the future on events like that. Things like that can happen. This is a very normal and human process, but we have to avoid, and we have to learn from the past, so we will not make the same mistakes again.
Okay.
Every mistake is allowed only once.
Yeah, that's why I tell you this. And I was chapter commander, and my area commander promoted himself to KGOR, accepted by Manila. We found the papers that he promoted himself to KGOR. I was chapter commander. I was not informed. So we found a paper which was sent to Manila to promote that person to KGOR in the chapter, and the chapter commander, the deputy chapter commander, they were not informed. Who signed on the papers? Some lieutenants and a priest in Belgium.
Yeah.
A priest in Belgium who is not a knight of his own, what he has
But
to
this
sign
is
on
also a
it.
sign that Manila is not sticking to their own rules and to the...
There's
promotion that we're doing in the Philippines. How about here? How do we promote ourselves here? And there are things that I can suggest if you like. We can start something like an art exhibit here. If all chapters will cooperate, we have a voice. And we can also start like what I've observed with what the Indonesians are doing. They're having an international film fest. This we can easily do by inviting them, and as a group, if you are a chapter commander, all I need is an approval that you agree with it, and then I can talk to some film producers to send something here, and we can have an exhibit for them. At least, and this way we can be heard that we are doing something here to promote and it's a product of a nice.
There is only already one. In Brussels, a lot of Filipino movies,
Yes.
and sometimes they are earning prizes.
Yes.
And it's Managro who is organizing that. Managro is an extant.
It's easily to start this one. Every film producer want to exhibit their movies abroad. But if we call it that this project is started by the Knights of Rizal, it's very good for us. And whatever money we can produce, whether it's big or not, we can give somebody to our project here as well.
Yes, but it's a big organization. I think Managro is working 6 months every year to do things.
Yes, it's a 1-year preparation.
Yeah.
But with us as a voice, as a group, we can do it as well. Remember, if we are a voice, if we are a group, I can talk to people and I can say to them that I am here to represent 1,000 members. And if you sponsor us, if you lend us your theater, it probably will help the organization as well here for the Knights of Rizal.
Could you give us the material and the time, for voluntary time? I think so. No?
We only need one
And
theater.
expertise, no?
We need one theater only. We have to book it way ahead of time, and then usually we pay it 1 month before. By this time, we are able to solicit people who are already wants to exhibit.
And money and time and the time you have to dedicate for that. No? That is also somehow still working for our daily bread.
Oh, but this one, we will not need any.
So.
Yeah, that's
Of course.
why.
They are exhibiting
Let's
their
see, let's
film
see,
for the
yeah.
film festival, for something,
For each.
exhibit. It's a contest.
contest.
We will be the judges like, oh, this is the best film of the year, whatever that is.
It's a big one already.
Yes.
For 20 years.
This will become a translation.
Yes, in Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, they send their movie stars, directors, at all their cost.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Because they're promoting
They're
their.
promoting their film.
Alone the
We give them
theater
the only
5 to 6
expense we have is a trophy. We have to buy them a trophy and you award them. We award them that they are okay, best film. We are okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, Siren.
For the coming General Assembly, overseas members attending the General Assembly would have to pay a special admittance fee, which would be, I don't know, was it $200? $200. I think from all what I've heard, this is regarded, here in Europe, this is regarded by many Knights as a kind of discrimination. Of course you could say, well, we Europeans are better off than the Filipinos, but imagine, we'll have to pay more than €1,000 probably, just for the flight, etc., for the accommodation. So we have got tremendous cost. We cannot just come to the assembly hall just by tram, or just by taxi or by bike. So we have tremendous cost. And then we even get more on top, namely to have a penalty fee for all those overseas attendants. And this is, I think this is absolutely discriminative and not acceptable. You said, the decisions in Manila, for example, lifetime member in the past, you know, there were decisions taken on good reasons. There may be good reasons. But for example, in this question, we, the ones who are concerned, namely you have to pay, we were not consulted or informed beforehand. We were afterwards told, we have decided in all our wisdom to set a penalty fee for all those. And I think it is a penalty fee. And I think it's not acceptable. And I think here we should, or we could, or I think we should, write down our protest against such a step. We will all be punished for attending and spending hundreds of thousands of euro to attend an event in Manila. And I think this is not all right. The question is, how should we react? I think we should voice our protest. Second thing, what information we got from Manila, which also caused widespread astonishment or, well, anger, disapproval, was the item of the election of the commanders here. We all met, or quite a number of us met in Brussels, and it was made clear that a nomination was to be submitted to our regional commander. Each chapter had a recommendation sheet writing down their candidates for the regional commander and for their respective area commander. And we said, okay, we'll do that. And we said, you, our regional commander, before you send on, or parallel when you send on your recommendations, sort of collecting all the things, we expect you to give us a feedback. He called it summary. He called it a digest or a summary. Yes, and he said, okay, he would. None of us has ever seen that. The result was, I would have said, okay, well, forget about it. But the result was that the appointments that we then heard from Manila were sometimes the absolute complete contrary and the opposite of what a number of chapters had nominated. So this is something, this is just not acceptable. And I wonder, you know, and when I asked Manila about this strange, or these strange decisions, I was only given the answer, well, it was a wise and analytical decision and some other factors. I had asked, what are your criteria for disregarding the nominations of so many chapters and choosing other candidates who had not been on the list, but suddenly, out of the blue, they were promoted to certain positions. And I was only given the answer, it was a wise and analytical decision, and that's the top of it all, I, the Supreme Commander, I have the final say, full stop. And some of you have got this letter, the reply letter of Sir Esguerra, to my letter. I sent my letter, signed and approved by 5 other chapter commanders, many of whom are present here, and I sent these things to the Supreme Commander directly. What happened? We got or I and the others who had signed got the reply, but well, not all of them, and simultaneously the reply of Sir Esguerra were circulated and distributed in the region. But nobody had seen my letter. It only appeared as if I was the bad guy, and what Sir Esguerra wrote, well, it was all correct. And my letter, my questions, my criticizing was called malicious, name-calling, scurrilous, etc., etc. And I don't think these things can go on in the future. And I have decided to write a reply to Sir Esguerra's reply, because he asked me a number of questions. And I had asked him a number of questions too, but he only picked out 1 or 2. He didn't touch the awkward questions, or the sensitive questions. Well, I answered all his questions. And I will distribute my letter, because his letter had been distributed all around the world. I will distribute my letter together with my first letter, so that most of you, I don't know if you are on the mailing list, I can't say you all, but you will so see my first letter, or our first letter to call it, Sir Esguerra's reply, and then you will see my reply, again supported by the same number of chapter commanders who supported my first letter. And I stressed, I said, I want a definition of the criteria for these appointments. And I strongly hope that we will get these explanations and not sort of a response saying your questions are malicious, name-calling, etc., etc. So this is something that is, I think, completely unacceptable, that these things happen, that the basic democratic rights are disregarded just by formal things. I have the final say, which formally is perfectly all right, of course. But from the substance, it's not okay. They're certainly not okay. And I think this is something that really touches the core of our order. If sort of we stick to fairness, democracy, transparency, or if we say, well, I, in all my supremacy, a word in the letter, I decide. I think, you know, result is not mirrored in all these decisions.
I can summarize for myself that I guess it was quite a fruitful meeting with even quite reasonable results. And it gives me confidence in the future, since I believe and trust in the new leaders in the regional area, in the area, regional area of Europe, area of Germany. And I'm quite happy that we got this ethic committee yesterday. What I like to know is what kind of power this ethic committee will have. Just for an example, we need, until now, to accept knights who are obviously criminal elements, who are lying, just for example, who gives in front of a lot of witnesses the promise as a personal commitment to pay 6,000 euro to the Philippines, and until now there is no approval, but they are still accepted. They sue another knight, even they are losing 2 cases of these...
Only one, sir. One.
Two.
One.
Yeah, excuse me. Okay,
Yeah, no
let's
interruption.
continue. And then you can react later, maybe.
Now, therefore, I really like to know what power this new committee, ethic committee has to really solve problems who are pending since many, many years and make a lot of knights and members so really unhappy.
I think the body give a mandate to the, let's hope that they do their duty according to the mandate that the body here give to them.
And their authority is their moral integrity, and that they are the moral instance for our region. So this is moral is more than everything else, and we cannot we don't have the instrument of certain punishes or certain penalties or something like that. That is not provided. That is not in our order, and even in the general rules we do not have it. But the Committee on Ethics maybe propose solutions, maybe propose penalties or penalties or whatever is necessary to, let's say, justify, rectify, or make things straight. And I think the committee will find something what they can do, ask, and if they need, maybe ask the General Assembly to establish some rules for penalties or something like that. That can be done, but at the moment they have the authority of the moral and of realism. That's the only thing we can provide them at the moment.
We cannot have an executive power to bring together, to reconcile, which is, of course, as we know, very, very difficult. And it almost, you know, in this case, I know
that was finished by the regional command. It's finished.
Obviously, it's sort of, it's perhaps officially formally closed, but it's still boiling. It's still boiling, right? And therefore, I think, you know, let's say a last attempt to reconcile and find out. Sometimes, you know, two contestants are sort of, or two rivals are so fixed in their role that it's impossible for them, you know, to break out. But perhaps with the help of good, willing others, there might be a chance that even this long quarrel, that's what I told you this morning, and the same, that we might hope that this long quarrel, and it's a fierce quarrel as we can see, that this might be, well, perhaps not solved completely, but sort of rectified to make it, to find a halfway agreeable solution one way or another, that you can speak with it.
Excuse me.
This case is so easily finished if we get the approval of the payment of 6,000 euro. But nobody got it yet. So, you see, Sir Rainer, it's so easy to show and to prove that this case is over. If I get the approval of the transmission of 6,000 euro to later, as it was promised and committed, then the case is over for me. So what is the problem to show the receipt of these 6,000 euro? You see, and I don't accept that any regional commander will close any case. No, the content of the agreement, stop. The content of that agreement was the payment of 6,000 euro.
No.
Oh my God, how many witnesses are here?
Because we don't have any kinds of money.
I
We approved it.
I mean,
Okay.
of any committee, of any commander or anyone who has a position in this organization, if it is based on wrong facts or if it is a decision which is not coherent with our laws and bylaws, is subject to revision from the respective bodies. So even a decision of any regional area commander, chapter commander is subject to revision if it is wrong and if it is a decision which is not coherent with other with the discussion before or with other decisions which were publicly or made in the commission.
Wolfgang, do you want to say?
For the proposal of the Committee on Ethics, they are going to propose a solution. Who is going to take a decision on this?
The decision will be between I suppose, to amend or to agree what the ethics committee will propose.
But if two parties don't agree, like this one here, about the 6,000 euros, the committee will formulate a proposal or something, and they don't agree. So who is going to be the end?
I mean, this is the moral authority will give them, will, I think, enable everybody to step over his own shadow and then follow the advice and the advice of this committee. I think this is what we call eine Art freiwillige Gerichtsbarkeit. I do not know what you call it.
Voluntary jurisdiction. Yeah. There is no proof that if they help, to overcome a conflict, then it will help. There can be the help, but if the contestants do not accept it, then we can't solve the problem from outside. This problem is solved by means of Ordre de Mufti.
Confirm it to or refer it to the General Assembly of the area or of the region, and at the same time also refer it to the Supreme Council and Council of Elders for ultimate decision.
Yeah.
I think that could be a way to do. No?
I would like to adjourn the meeting for lunch. Yeah? That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
The meeting is adjourned, and then we'll continue after lunch. Okay.
Okay, one.
No reaction?
Okay.
Ano, record lang to. Is it on?
No, you have to switch them on. The small.
Not this button? Okay.
She
Okay.
I'm so full of cheese now.
1, 2,
Okay.
one more.
Where is baby night?
Yeah, we can have
Under the table.
No more cheese. I'm so full. No more cheese.
Everybody smiling?
Yes, whiskey.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Make sure, huh?
Huh?
Because we'll be erasing the picture if you're not smiling, huh? You know the technology, huh?
1, 2, smile.
Hallelujah!
Okay. Diyo ano.
It's the hardest part of the meeting.
Okay, you only have 3 minutes here.
Wait a minute, I'll check my...
One.
Wait. Come on.
Yung kay Henry, hindi ko maano.
Lucia, you are hiding.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you.
One more. The last one to roll.
I-video mo, tapos camera.
Next time
Wait for the vote.
we limit the number of cameras to 3.
Okay na to.
Yeah,
Ito, okay na to?
I think we should...
Cameraman.
2.
Because this is a problem that...
This is a hot iron. This was an order given by the Supreme Commander, who said to return what can be returned now. Dated 2004. Yeah, 2008. Now still waiting.
Private property, but belong to the chapter.
Nothing that corresponds or something like that is a property of any commander or any person.
But
It is property of the position.
They refused to give it back. And
That is
then
ridiculous.
it's, okay, it's a hot piece of iron.
To the Committee of Ethics, first, this is a case of just normal
Organization.
daily business, and we should, if the person is not willing to do, maybe they get a punishment of the regional commander, or if necessary, we will get a support letter from Manila which is clearly stating that all the files are the property of the order. I mean, this could be, I think, could be done, no?
They can overrule, well, the regional...
But you are there.
Huh?
You are there, you can say.
Actually,
let me change this one word. This is important for all. They ignore the order, the direct written order of the Supreme Commander. Now, we can play all the games we like, and we can be as polite as we wish. But if we, in any circumstance, continue to tolerate by inaction any individual or any group's misbehavior, then we really should all shut up shop and go home. Because the person is, or what rank they are, or what chapter they belong to. It is simply not acceptable that they would be allowed to ignore that order. That order is in existence, I think, for 4.5 years as far as I know. And as I understand it, there was a significant amount of documentation and a very large number of photographs involved. And the couple of people involved have passed the book as, oh no, I don't have it, I gave it to him. No, I don't have it, I gave it back to him. Oh no, somebody brought it to the Philippines. The person who was supposed to have brought it to the Philippines has categorically stated that they did. At some point, we've got to have the courage of a little piece of integrity and say, listen, Mr. X, whoever Mr. X happens to be, you got a direct order, you ought to get action against you. Because if we don't, we're just fooling ourselves. We're completely fooling ourselves, and we are damaging our own integrity because we are condoning an improper and a nice way of putting this. There comes a time when you either stand up for what you believe in, or you should walk away.
actually, we have a legal right on these papers,
Absolutely.
so nobody can deny that, and if someone is not taking proper care of these files, he has to compensate somehow, no? He has to reconstruct it or whatever, no?
Well, one has to step, if people are sort of reluctant, we have to step on in that. But if we are present, if the area commander goes to the chapter and says, I want your papers to be passed to, etc.
By a particular time.
By a particular time, and then there's pressure, and sometimes it doesn't work without pressure. Good.
I got the point.
So next time we are still start working on the laws and bylaws, and I ask everybody, I will attach it to the protocol, I will send the one as a Word document what we, and I have another document, sir, and there were several lessons held, and for example, Rainer Weber, I would also urge you or request that you send your Word document to Sir Romeo for distribution, at least in our area, but also maybe to other chapter commanders for distribution. And I have another thing which I already give to you, that is Rizalism in the new millennium. I'm sorry to propagate myself, but I think I was working on the necessities of Rizalism today, and found out, referring to a lesson of Sir Oscar, not Sir Oscar, but Oscar Bulaong, that Rizalism today for us means much more than Rizalism meant in the past, because we have to analyze, and Rizal was, in one word, he was also a politician. He has a political mind, and we also have to involve ourselves, if necessary, in our commitment. Is covering also, is not covering only the history, but is also covering the present, and we all need to say, when we find out that wherever it is, wherever, especially in the Philippines are basing themselves on Rizalism or on Rizal, and if we think there is something which has nothing to do or is in contradiction to this always publicly public speeches, Biertischreden oder nein, Sonntagsreden, and then it is, then we should stand up as Knights of Rizal and say, though this action of the government is not consistent with the human years of Rizal, and we have to oppose against it. And also our superiors in Manila, they should not always be quiet when they see that something in the government or in the state is not running well. This is our obligation as Rizalists, not to be quiet and watch and sit on the fence what might happen, but is to be active, because this is what is expected from a dedicated knight. Meine Sonntagsrede.
In Hamburg, the influences of Europe on Rizal to Romeo's for distribution in among the German chapters. If anybody of the others would like to have the paper, just give me or just tell me, and then I will.
Just no, please send it to Romeo Garcia as Word document, and then he will. And
then you write to him and ask him, to.
No, he will just distribute it freely.
Yeah, you get it from him. Then it's okay. Good, I send it to you, and then you can to anybody who's interested.
And you also have to send. There are several chapters who didn't. One. Which Cologne?
Two.
Both Colognes. Hamburg, Lions, and Heidelberg. So the German chapters are united in this list. Made it soonest to the area commander, and because Manila is also now asking for this, because they already know that they have to revise their directory. They have one which is about 15 years old and not really updated. So and they want to start to work on these things. Romeo, I will send you maybe a draft how it should look, because we should have all the same form. Yeah. So if we have an Excel tabella, we can all just file it up and get a directory without starting to type and type and type again. Huh?
Okay. Please send the email address.
If once you are in these big distribution lists, you never have a chance to get out, to avoid this spamming and mailing from certain groups. And now actually I found personally it very annoying. Yeah, now the official distribution list of Manila or wherever it is from is also used for advertising certain businesses, for example in America. So this is somehow not so nice.
In fairness to those who give the reports, to mention Rizal Brazil, Diamond Chapter, El Filibusterismo, Paris Chapter, Dimasalan Chapter, London Chapter, Als Chapter, and Rizal Chandler 1. So that's 8, and then 6 missing still.
Wie viele Punkte für die Chapter?
The telephone number. Then we will have a possibility to relay information to telephone.
Is it somehow abusing these emails addresses? So can they in the official papers be hidden?
I think you have to respect. You have my email address as chapter commander. You tell me. Because the mails that have been sent and all the addresses, and you keep on getting mails that you don't like to read. Last year I was really fed up with all those messages coming in from the Knights of Rizal, that I was thinking in the mind, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I? You have my name, you have my membership fee, you know where I live, you know my email address. When there is something important, you send it through to me. And I can get reports to his people, reports to the area commander, to the regional commander, and the regional commander has to do his job.
To do the closing now of our meeting, and again, as I have said before, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because this is our first meeting of the officers and appointed officers from the Supreme Council, and I believe that this will be a good start for our region. And I hope that we will continue as we have started today. And again, thank you very much.
Thanks in particular to the hosting people around and with Sir Peter Pickerbaum. They did an excellent job, and etc.
It's a real goal now, yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
But I was expecting already somehow that it will be a good meeting and a success. And as long as I'm a Knight of Rizal, I've never had such a fruitful, peaceful, constructive meeting. I mean, I'm only there for 6 or so many years. Thanks to Sir Celso, and I want to thank you all that you come to Bonn, give us the honor, and that's it. May I ask Sir Celso to make...
Not only Moriar.
Not everything in me will die.
Not everything in me will die.
And maybe we ask the next chapter to sponsor a table bed.
Or a hammer.
Say something. That's also, I feel also that the meeting was the best meeting I've ever attended in the Knight of Rizal in Europe. And I'm still hoping that there will be continuity and betterment of the organization.
Thank you.
With the company of my co-Knights of Rizal, I wish them all a happy trip in going back to their respective homes.
Thank you, sir.
Look at me.